Hello, how are you? Welcome, let's get to the information. At this moment, attacks are being reported in Turkey. In Israel, there's also an attack on a French base and an alleged attack on the United States aircraft carrier. Let's see what is known, what has been confirmed, and what each side is saying. Let's get into the details. While we're getting ready to start this live broadcast, I ask you to like, share, and help us keep this channel going. And a huge thank you to the entire community, including YouTubers and communicators who stay in touch with us. I really appreciate you all, and hopefully there will be some collaborations with them soon. Many thanks also to the community that's on other networks like Facebook, Twitter, and so on, and who come and visit us as well. A huge greeting to those who watch us later. A big hello to the whole community that supports us in different ways. Let's get started. Go ahead and give us a like, share, help us out with that. And we have to start with something very serious, which are the sirens that remind us of years of conflict in Gaza, for example. Do you remember all those sirens that we used to hear constantly? Well, now listen to this. We'll begin with that image and soon discuss what's happening in Iran and Haifa. By the way, let's quickly see exactly where this region is located in Israel. No, this is in Haifa in Israel. Let's zoom out a little more further back, this part of Israel. This area is a bit towards the north, right? Here it's a little further down. There's Jordan, there's the Gaza Strip, and further south, but not here, it's in this part. For example, this is Tel Aviv, which is much further south, but Haifa is practically in the north. That's where attacks are being reported according to what is known. Now we need to look at the details of how many attacks are happening with the ROU-3 system and with the Iron Dome system. No, the man. We are going to be talking about this whole situation, drones from Iran, the sirens, everything that's happening. It's obviously a tremendous situation. Also today, we're going to talk to you about the early morning of the 12th, no, the 13th actually. Over there, it would be the 13th, of course, early morning of the 13th. So for the Israelis, a huge greeting also to the community watching us from different parts of the world. Hey, another image that's surprising is this one they've already been showing on some social networks. What is this image about? What's going on there?
Well, here we are seeing it. The attacks that were carried out against the French army. It would be an attack on a French army helicopter, and there is already talk of 6 wounded soldiers.
Well, let's take a look at the details of what's happening right now. In that sense, for now, it's also good to report this message released by the Ministry of the Interior of Bahrain. According to what is known, they have been asking the citizens of Bahrain to take shelter again. And that's because the sirens were heard again in Bahrain after a launch from Iran. Pay attention to Bahrain because Bahrain and Kuwait have been constantly attacked, and the Iranian regime says, no, we are only going to attack United States bases. And that's not true. They keep attacking civilian positions, businesses, hotels as well. Let's be clear, this hasn't stopped. Let's also look at this image. Listen to this. What we're hearing is not in Israel, this is in Turkey, near the Incirlik base, a United States base. By the way, they have nuclear weapons there. Apparently they're being attacked, at least that's what we know. Explosions have been heard in Turkey, and sirens have been going off, obviously, but that's also happening right now, between attacks on Israel and attacks on Turkey. They are clearly sending a message. The Iranians don't want to negotiate. They are far from seeking any negotiation. And not only that, but they even launch attacks against NATO. Attacking Turkey is attacking NATO. This is the 3rd time, and Turkey does absolutely nothing, nor does NATO do anything at all. This also draws attention, but it seems that the Iranians' intention is to extend the conflict. Even though some people say, no, it's already calm, I don't know what, it doesn't seem that way. Right now, we're going to talk about what Netanyahu says, what Donald Trump himself says. They claim it's over, they've won, and I don't know what. And you say, okay, sure, it's been overwhelming in terms of infrastructure. That's very, very true, that part. But the other part is that they keep attacking. I mean, you say, okay, if you finished off the military infrastructure, supposedly. But then Why are they still attacking over and over again? I mean, how long can they keep extending this? Today, there's a report from the Wall Street Journal claiming that both Israeli intelligence and United States intelligence don't see an end in sight. At least that's what I'm going to tell you right now. We'll talk about all the details in a moment because they're tremendous. And well, let's go little by little, going through all the reports. A big greeting to Brescia, to Roble, all the way to Cuba, to Lourdes, to the whole community watching us in the United States, in Florida, in Utah. Over there is Christy Crass. No, in Utah, no. Greetings to Carden, who is in Florida, and to the whole community watching us in Florida. Thank you very much. Those who are in Texas and California obviously know. Lorena, how have you been? Yes, the United States. Come on, we have to remember that the United States is a country worth noting. The United States has a base in Turkey and a very important base, which is this Irkling base. An air base where they keep nuclear weapons. The United States, of course, doesn't operate them. Turkey, it's an air base, like in a state. Greetings. It's an air base that has, if I'm not mistaken, 50 nuclear weapons. It's something, I mean, just imagine. It's not just anything. It's not just any base. It's this little base they have over there. We'll also talk in a moment about what's happening with an alleged aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln. I think that's the one they supposedly attacked. Yes, the United States claims that there was an attempted attack. Apparently, because an Iranian ship got pretty close and obviously, well, the aircraft carrier sank it, right? I mean, they saw an Iranian coming, an Iranian ship, and they sank it. That's what the United States and Iran say, right? That they attacked and all that. That's the thing. There was also a fire in the kitchen of the Lidar Ford, which is another aircraft carrier, but that's a separate issue. But anyway, we'll talk about it in a moment too, just to see what happened. There have been multiple attacks between the United States and Oslo against Jewish communities. It seems like they coordinated today to carry out attacks. But not only that. That's what happened in Michigan, right? In Detroit, right? That attack, well, we've already talked about it here, but look, I want you to see this. This is the base. Let's see if we can take a look at it. This is the base where they had fired. Yes, and click yes. What? That's good. What is known? Up to now? Well, little information because it's something that's still developing, right? Well, it's information that's still developing and well here. While we're live, we'll be seeing what's happening, right? If you're in any of the areas we're talking about, please tell us if you see anything strange. Let us know what you're seeing and thank you really to the community. Sometimes we get messages from Israel, sometimes from countries in the Middle East, from different countries. Thank you very much for being there. Let's go over a few points before moving on to other matters about this base. Yes, I mean with this base, to clarify, first we're going to show where it is. It's called the Irkling base. It's one of the most important and most mysterious bases, those of the United States, right? This base in Turkey, suddenly these are bases that aren't talked about much. That's why they have that aura of mystery. There's the base. Look at how close it is to Syria, to Iraq, to Iran. Yes, a very important base for NATO. And this is the third time they've tried to attack. By the way, here are some facts to help you understand more or less how this base works. Let's see. Irkling Air Base is one of the most important military bases for the United States and NATO. It's in Adana, southern Turkey, about 110 kilometers from Syria. This base becomes tremendously strategic. The Irkling base is believed to have between 40 and 50 nuclear bombs right there. Just so we can estimate, that's what they calculate more or less. Obviously, they never say exactly how many they have, but that's the estimate they make. It's under NATO's nuclear program called nuclear sharing, which is a well-known NATO program, the nuclear sharing program. What it allows is that the United States places nuclear bombs at certain NATO locations. I insist, that's part of Germany, Turkey, and other countries, and they have nuclear weapons there. Why? Why do they have them there? In case one day the United States is attacked, for example, by Russia, yes, they could respond, or China, they could respond much faster from there, from Europe, or from Turkey. The base we're talking about became central in the military operations of the Gulf War, the Desert Gulf, the one in Iraq. That one is going to be the key. Yes, the wars that have happened with Iraq, from there they attacked both the one in Kuwait and the other wars. Yes, just like now, the Caesar Desert, the war in Syria against Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Operations were carried out from there, from Turkey. See? The most important surveillance operations in the Middle East are carried out from there, not from Europe, from Saudi Arabia or from the Emirates or from Qatar. Operations are run from the base. Turkey is the most important of them all. Just think, it has nuclear weapons. In 2016, there was an attempted coup d'etat against him. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. It was pretty early in the morning.
Very early, there was an attack. An attempted coup d'etat against him. The president still took action. And Turkey, look, the Turks cut the electricity to the base. A Turkish commander was later arrested and American planes were temporarily trapped in the middle of a coup attempt. Turkish, 2016. From there, well, there was an alert. What if one day Turkey falls and suddenly the new president of Turkey keeps the nuclear bases?
Just imagine.
With 50 nuclear weapons, just imagine, even if you don't control them, even if you don't have the devices, just imagine what could have happened at that moment. 2016?
Very dangerous.
It's very dangerous to have nuclear weapons in a country that, well, has a certain level of instability. Now,
first, Erdogan already has everything there.
Exactly, inside that base. Just to move on to another topic. I found their question about the base interesting, so I thought we could discuss some curious facts about it before moving on. Inside the base, just to give us an idea of the size and what's there, it's not just a military base. There are schools there because the soldiers' families live there. There are schools, supermarkets, and a hospital inside the base. There are churches of different religions inside the base. There's a movie theater. There are residential neighborhoods inside the base. So, well, they literally say it's a small American city inside Turkey just to give us an idea of what it's like. The investment that the United States has around the world is impressive. And, well, it's very common to hear stories from singers and actors and all that they later tell you about. No, well, my parents were in the military and we lived in like 5, 6, 7 countries throughout my whole life. But they live the American way of life. For them, it's almost like living in the United States, right? You live in a place where you have everything and that's it. Sometimes you go on vacation to visit the country or certain places. But do whole families live there? That's a very interesting topic that the United States deals with. If you want, we can talk more later about the base. It's really crazy. And other interesting bases too. But anyway, what happened in this explosion? Nearby? Well, in these attacks, supposed attacks by the...
According to this, that's all. Based on what's being reported on X, there isn't a very precise source.
Yes, so...
It's preliminary, yes, well, this is a Turkish media outlet that's reporting it. A few minutes ago, there were sirens sounding for 5 minutes in an area called Adan in Turkey. And after this, people say they heard an explosion. It's very close to the Irkling base, and right now, obviously, it's on high alert. People have been sharing images of the sirens and the explosion, and this happened at 3:25 a.m. local time.
Well, that's the situation. It's part of what's happening in this area. Anything else?
Yes. They also heard the sounds of trucks, fire engines, and security forces vehicles, which started to be heard throughout the city.
Well, something is definitely happening there. Something is going on at the Irkling base in Turkey. Nobody knows what, or in the surrounding area. Couldn't it be better? The attack didn't reach the base, but on the third occasion, and Turkey and NATO do absolutely nothing. What's more, where is Marut? Give me the phone, please. What is Marut doing and where is he? Have you noticed Marut, the camera guy who is always everywhere? What happened? Who knows what? He appeared, I don't know, a character from the House of the Famous comes out and Marut shows up like, oh no, well, I think he didn't see him leave. No, but he does show up a lot, don't you remember? He's in the media a lot. And now there's a war in which they've attacked, well, or tried to attack 4 times, 3 in Turkey, 1 in Cyprus, and absolutely nothing is being done. I find it really curious. Well, let's move on to other details, other important matters as well. well, it was being reported to him these attacks in Israel. Let's now go to the details of what is also known. Information development, obviously, well, that's something that caught people's attention. A moment ago in fact I was. One of these broadcasts which are a continuous coverage that we have on the alternate channel of all the day's broadcasts. We put them together, we summarize them, and we put them there on the channel. And I saw a comment from Cynthia, whom I sent a big greeting to, and she was saying, hey, right now the attacks from Israel are happening, right? And we were just arriving here at the office, and well, we immediately checked this information. And indeed, yes, there has been a situation, well, of conflict, of attacks in the suburbs of Haifa. Looking quickly, this is the part, as we said, the northern part. Let's go to that area. What's happening?
What is being reported right now, that's also developing, just like what's happening in Turkey. Suspicious drones have been seen and sirens went off in the suburbs of Haifa, Acre, and Najarila today in Israel.
Currently, they don't know the number or if there are casualties. So, since this is developing information, we'll keep you updated as more details become available, alright? Also, well, the following is being reported there. Well, this is the base in Turkey. It's the same there as well. Let's see if we can show this. There's another country apparently that is considering not going to the World Cup. We're going to talk about this issue right now because I think it's also interesting. In the meantime, this is the aircraft carrier. Let's see if we can put it here. It's the aircraft carrier. According to reports from armed groups linked to Iran, they would be claiming responsibility for two things. They say they attacked a plane that fell from the United States, a C-130 plane, one of those planes for
refueling
fuel that it already has. I think it's been about 60 years, more or less.
62 years in operation.
Just imagine. They're very durable planes. Over 60 years, it's a C-135 plane, according to reports, that apparently crashed. It was lost. Reports state that there is currently no evidence that it was attacked, so according to what they say, it was not attacked. But, well, it did crash, right? I mean, that's the thing. So what details are there? No.
Well, let's go with what the Iranian Revolutionary Guard says. They say that the American tanker plane crashed in western Iran, that it was attacked, they say, by a missile, they say, launched by Iraqi groups that support Iran.
The pro-Iranian militias, yes?
The pro-Iranian militias assured him that the entire crew had lost their lives. That's what the Iranian government agency says, and it's from the famous Tasmil. But, well, the United States...
Well, the Tasmil news agency tells us that it was them, It was. Yes. Okay, so... I mean, just to have it as information, right? In the end, well, we'll have to see who is right, whether it's Tasmil and the Iranians who say they fired or not, right? Initially, the United States forces said the tanker plane incident wasn't an attack, but just involved the plane.
United States Central Command simply says it was an accident, that there is no evidence the aircraft was brought down by hostile fire. That's what they say. It's a KC-135 tanker plane, and, well, it crashed in western Iraq while taking part in the military campaign. Every day it has been carrying fuel, well, gasoline, jet fuel for the planes that are in combat.
Every day?
Every day it was moving from one place to another to make these deliveries.
A huge shout out to Tapatia.
Greetings, Tapatia.
Good afternoon, Tapatia. Greetings to Guadalajara and to the whole community that's watching us. In different parts of Mexico, the United States, and other parts of the world, thank you so much for joining us.
Now, this plane wasn't flying. There were only two identical aircraft. One of them managed to land without any problems. The other one crashed. Yes, that's what draws attention, right? If it had been an attack, well, I don't think the other one would land and do all this exactly. I mean, it would probably escape instead. And, well, the operations to locate and rescue the crew are still underway right now, although no details have been given about the number of people. But some people say that there would be 6 people on board this. Okay.
The crew of the plane is on a large aircraft. It's a plane, well, one of those, as they call it, that carries fuel. Very large, heavy. They don't have these types of planes. They don't have those systems like jets do that, well, can eject them and save them in case of an accident or in case of an attack. Those planes, well, if they go down, they go down. I mean, there's no. I mean, the best you can do is try to land it as best as possible, I imagine.
But just so we get an idea, they can carry from 3, that's the minimum, up to 37 people from 3 to 37.
37 people. Well, that's well, let's move on to other important matters as well. Well, right now there's an attack on Turkey on that base. This remains to be seen whether it's true or not, right? There are doubts, yes, but well, it's possible.
But it's been around for a long time. I mean, this plane crashed. It's still working. It participated in the Vietnam War, just so you get an idea.
Imagine how long it's been around. How many wars has that plane been through?
Imagine. Yeah, wow, it's been here. He said, hey.
But wow, that's intense. I mean, and now the issue with Israel is another topic that's happening right now too. It seems like, well, this not only isn't ending, but it's actually speeding up. Today there was a message from Octava, right, which honestly wasn't believable, in the sense that he doesn't even show up.
No, you don't even say it.
Not even his voice. You say you're talking about it already happened? What? More than a week. I mean, it's been more than a week since the war, and there hasn't been a single appearance from him, not even once with his voice. So, well, there's the expectation that maybe he's not even alive or he's not conscious, because they do admit that he's injured. That's it. But anyway, there's a message that that comes out from Dan Yajo. Listen a bit to it. Yes.
Yes. We told him if we try to resume the activities that were done.
The country, well, part of the message, what it says is the following. It says, we eliminated the old tyrant and the new dictator. It says, Moktava can't show his face in public, as if saying that Moktava probably isn't alive anymore either. No, that's the insinuation it gives, although it still can't be confirmed, he says. We are destroying nuclear infrastructure, the missile arsenal and launchers, headquarters of repression, centers of power of the regime, and other targets, says Netanyahu himself. Well, at one point, getting into detail, he talks about how... Well, that they are crushing, he says, the Iranian government. On one hand, you say, well, Khamenei has fallen, that's all. Today, more generals were eliminated. It seems like every day, more high-ranking people are falling and being confirmed. People had speculated for days, but it was only confirmed today. And the fact that even Khamenei's son doesn't come out, well, in that sense, it makes sense, or at least that's how it looks. I mean, because there are also a lot of narratives going around right now at the same time, but what you can see is that there really is a collapse of the leaders. But at the same time, what you also see, and it's also a fact, is that they still have the ability to attack and they're still firing. And people ask, so how long can they hold on? That's according to Abbas Aragashi, one of the few still alive and speaking. They could be there for months, 6 months, six months, and thinking that if this continues like this, there would be an energy collapse. There wouldn't be enough energy to sustain things, not even with the reserves in place. Supposedly,
well, Benjamin Netanyahu says today that, well, that the son of Khamenei is indeed injured. That's why he hasn't come out to show his face. They also claim to have eliminated a key nuclear scientist, something that, well, is extremely important for Israel. The fact of being able to control at least the nuclear facilities project, most of which are underground. And regarding the issue of ballistic missiles, Israel says it eliminated a top scientist during the conflict, although it hasn't provided details about his identity. That's exactly what happened. It's an issue that's still pending. For its part, it claims that preparations are already starting. They don't say, well, okay. The Israelis especially, since they're the ones facing the missiles, and the Americans, well, not much else. That's what the military and the United States population face with these suddenly appearing crazy people. No, because now they're saying they don't know if Iran is going to overthrow the regime.
Well, let's get into that detail. Since you're spoiling the next report, let's go to the next report. And what Araizo says is very interesting, just quickly. What Araizo says about the strong hand look, he says, I see 4 countries at risk of participating in the World Cup. Iran, Qatar, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. Well, Iran is out.
They already said no?
I mean, they already officially said they're out. Now, Qatar, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Well, yeah, imagine Qatar, the country that hosted the World Cup and everything, and not participating would be a big deal. Today, the United States made a statement. Well, we'll look at the message in a moment, but Donald Trump said in one of his Truth Social posts, he says, well, that it's going to be a World Cup, the best, the best in the world, and that it's going to be very safe, right?
That's how all the tickets are being sold, he says.
But I don't know. I really don't know. Honestly, I have my doubts that tickets are actually being sold. Well, we would have to do a survey to see if people here would be willing to go to a World Cup, if they would be willing to go to a World Cup over there. If it were, for example, the United States, would they be willing? They tried to sell the idea at one point, would they be willing to go to Mexico to the World Cup? Honestly, I would rather go to the Azteca or the one here or the one in Guadalajara, even more than the one in Los Angeles, for example. I would say Los Angeles. I would say if I get the chance, honestly, with how things are, I don't know. Let's hope they give us confidence by then, but that's it. Today, there were several attacks in different places. Besides, the World Cup is the complete focus of cameras. And that's what those kinds of terrorist groups are looking for, and all they're after is to get attention. Obviously, not that this would generate that terror. So, obviously, yes, if they're usually held by major powers, there are risks in that sense. Well, with the situation they're going through, well, even more so, that's all. Nothing else. Well, let's get to that topic, because there are a lot of issues at the same time, but we need to talk about what's happening. In this message from the Wall Street Journal, we're not going along with that. Notice that the Wall Street Journal does make a very interesting report, right? According to what they claim, they were in contact with intelligence officials from the United States and also with intelligence officials from Israel. And according to the report from the Wall Street Journal and also from The Guardian, by the way, which confirmed this situation, they claim that there are no, let's say, possibilities, at least in the near future. They don't see the regime in Iran falling anytime soon. Let's say, that's basically what this is about, right? What's going on? How are things?
Well, according to Israeli security and intelligence sources, they admit today that Israel launched the attacks against Iran without a realistic plan to provoke a complete regime change. According to these sources, which are cited by The Guardian, the idea was that the bombings would provoke a popular uprising against the government of Iran. Well, it's more of an illusion than a strategy based on solid intelligence, and today, that's what this general said, where he assured that it's very difficult to bring about truly credible regime changes through bombings. And well, Iran has resisted almost 2 weeks of attacks from the United States and Israel, and they've certainly been intense. And despite this, the Iranian political system is still functioning. Power was assumed by Khamenei's son, which shows that the structure of the regime is still operating.
Exactly. It's still operating, he says. They're being sold. Look, he says, in Mexico, I am going to the World Cup, but it seems that here the tickets have already been sold. Because there aren't any. Yes, there aren't any. There just aren't any at all. Also, he says they're being sold. I have 3 tickets bought in Canada. That's great, Jorge. Well, congratulations. Let us know how it goes. I hope everything goes really well and enjoy it a lot. We'll be keeping an eye on how this situation goes now. According to what some Israeli strategies are reporting, the true indicator of the war's success or failure won't be the fall of the regime, but who controls the uranium. That's what's important. What they're saying is, let's see. Yes, okay. I completely understand that the idea is to end the regime, but it seems like that's being set aside. And the idea is, let's see, are the facilities there or not? No, they're not. That's why today they're talking about having eliminated a very high-level scientist. The United States says, well, we've already sent to destroy all the facilities. The 400 is still an issue. 40-something kilos of enriched uranium remain at 60%. But besides that, there are also 9 tons of uranium that haven't been enriched yet, but they're there as well. So, the other day we talked about it, it's not just opening Pandora's box, it's opening a Pandora's box that they're not really sure how to close. On one hand,
I'm surprised they didn't have the plan.
On one hand, I think Israel saw it as an opportunity and said, look, Donald Trump needs something external right now, something that creates tension. Enough for the bro to avoid his current internal problems. And at the same time, Israel has always wanted to convince the United States to go after Iran.
So specifically in this,
Netanyahu has brought this idea of ending the Iranian regime. And it's like they went all in, not like they say, but they really went for it.
yes, explain that.
Because look, explain to us.
Explain to us.
No.
What does that mean? Like accelerated?
Like accelerated? Yes, he says. Pepe, please, talk about the seals of the apocalypse. Regards.
Regards, Jose.
What is that, Jose? No.
We've had enough with the border issue.
That's right. No, but he sends you greetings, he says. Someone says that we put 80 ads. No, we don't put 80 ads. I mean, those are automatic. That's done by YouTube. Maybe. You get 80 and others don't even get 2 and others get 10. I mean, that's not up to us. It depends on each person. What I did, because the same thing happened to me when I watched other videos, even videos from channels that say we don't put ads because they have funding from I don't know where, so they don't put them. Even so, YouTube also puts ads because in the end, the platform has to make a living from something, and so do the content creators. So unfortunately for some people, they suddenly multiply many times. What I imagine is the trend is that people will have their YouTube premium and we apply all this ourselves, just like that. We just finished here because we watch a lot of YouTube. We put it on the television. Exactly. We're exercising, we're watching YouTube, we're in the kitchen doing something, and we leave the screen over there watching YouTube. So it was already annoying, obviously. So what we did was get YouTube Premium to get rid of the ads, right? That's the best. And paradoxically, the opposite happens with streaming platforms sometimes. I mean, platforms like Amazon Prime and all that. With the cheaper version, they show you 1 or 2 ads per movie, and that's fine. I mean, over there, it's the opposite. Like, if I buy the cheaper one, just 1 or 2 ads aren't going to bother me.
You don't really notice it that much.
You don't really notice it that much, but here it's a bit more automatic. So I imagine that's the trend that's growing the most. YouTube right now is being used on television. That's where it's headed. And I think a lot of us are noticing it because we're also consumers who watch movies, documentaries, or videos from other YouTubers. And well, obviously, as always, I appreciate the comments, greetings, very good. Hey, let's move on to another point.
That's all. The analysts. What they're warning is that if the regime manages to survive, even if it's weakened but still has its uranium intact, could it then accelerate its military nuclear program with the guarantee of survival against future threats? Because, well, if you do it, if you go for it, you go all the way. Because if not, the only thing that's going to happen is that it's going to grow even more.
This is the issue. I see this right now. At this point of conflict, it seems like the strategy is a direct confrontation. Iran doesn't want to stay distant because they lack the capability. They have drones which have been useful for some of their objectives, but they also generate a very high cost in the war. But at the same time, no, they don't generate the effect they want. They're not ready. So what I feel is that they're looking for something, they're provoking. They know that time is against them right now, exactly for these years, but for Israel, time is against them. Is there a World Cup coming? The economy is a bit shaky, and it could get even shakier. If they hold it up, it seems like the intention is to keep it going and give that impression, even if that might not be the case. But the feeling is that despite those who have fallen, it still goes on. There is a certain stability, which I honestly think is also part of the strategy to show that they have the ability to respond, right?
What some former Israeli officials who already have experience with this say is that Israel could, according to them, win the war militarily, but lose it strategically if the long-term nuclear risk is not neutralized. That's it.
I mean, there's no doubt in that sense the crushing of the Iranian infrastructure is quite well documented. But was the real war won? I mean, the war, what is the real war? I mean, the final objective, which was the issue of nuclear weapons, if that continues, well, it's like having lost. Also, it's like, sorry, like buying time, but losing the final, yeah.
Also, I mean, if you don't win, you don't win, just to put it that way. Also, you put yourself in and made them put in an Ayatollah even more intense than Khamenei, Kelly. Yes, because the sun is much more intense.
This one is live, exactly. Greetings, Blanca Barcelo. How have you been? Jerez says, I think Iran has been trying to escalate this to other countries from the beginning. In 6 or 8 weeks, we'll clearly see where this is heading. Even though it feels like it's been a long time, it's still early, just a little while. Greetings, Jerez. So, is this really the... Supposedly, we're still in the first stage, which was to take down Khamenei and destroy the military infrastructure. The next stage would be to go after the uranium to confirm that the military facilities are destroyed, and in that second stage, there's the possibility that special forces troops could go in. Like those operations where the helicopter comes in, they land, check things out, take pictures, get back on, and leave. No, not troops that stay there or anything like that.
And the idea of troops going in to take away the nuclear material is impossible, because when it's in those quantities, well...
Yeah, no, I mean, well, 440 kilos, sure, but when it's 9 tons, well, I mean, but me? The most dangerous part is those 440 kilos that, well, up until now. Apparently, no one knows where they are. In 8 weeks with oil like this, that's when there will be, well, price changes. In fact, they're reporting 30 pesos at some gas stations here. Friends here in Mexico, can someone comment and confirm this matter for us? They've already told us, for example, in California, that it's gone up in New York, in Utah, I mean, in different parts of the United States. I'm not sure if anyone watching in Spain has information on whether fuel prices have increased.
Christina, we didn't say that Israel has been attacked. We just said that the sirens are going off, that's all.
Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes it's one thing what you say and another thing what some people understand, right? So, I suggest, Christina, that you listen, okay? I mean, listen to what we're really saying and what's actually being said. Even in the headline, because it also says it there. Israel is under pressure and they're being attacked. I mean, they really are being attacked. I mean, now that the system is working, well, yes, the system is working, the sirens are active. And I'm not the one saying it because, I mean, I'd have to have a lot of imagination to be making things up, right? The Times of Israel says it, right? Them too. If you had listened to it, well, you would see that I also said exactly who is saying it, right? And I mean, it's not just information from social media, right? I mean, it also has to be confirmed by some media outlet, some agency, or someone who is over there. We also have people over there who keep confirming things for us, right? So, well, I just want to thank you. And just, you know, it's important to listen to the news before making any kind of accusation. Above all, because, I mean, one thing is criticism, but it's something different to call someone a liar, right? So I'm just asking you for respect, that's all. If not, well, I'll just block you, that's it. It's very simple. We move forward with respect, welcoming all criticism and opinions, but always respectfully. I appreciate it. All right, greetings, Francisco Rublox. A big shout out to the whole community. Now let's move on to other important matters as well. Check this out. Yes, there is one. Yes. And here it gets noisier. Well, in the United States, at first Donald Trump wanted to downplay it, but this is making more and more noise in the White House and in the United States Congress, etc. But now this has escalated to another country, and here I go, right here. What am I talking about? There haven't been attacks inside United States positions, inside Kuwait, for example, which was indeed a significant attack where 7 United States soldiers died. Up until now, right? Because there are several more serious ones. Let's see. How did they know those soldiers were there if they weren't involved in the conflict then? Who gave them that information? And how did they know that, for example, there were Amazon data centers in that building? In fact, the Revolutionary Guard has already acknowledged it. They didn't even know what was there. They just knew there was something important, but not exactly what it was. Yes, but is someone giving them the information about where and when to attack? The United Kingdom, the intelligence of the United Kingdom, which is one of the most important in the world, confirms this. And they point directly to Vladimir Putin as the hidden hand behind the attacks on strategic facilities of United States interest is Vladimir Putin. And this is not just anyone saying it, not just any person. Greetings, it's the United States Secretary of Defense who says it. According to reports, Moscow has transferred military intelligence to Tehran in recent weeks, meaning intelligence sharing has accelerated. Look at what's happening from the United Kingdom. Intelligence sharing has accelerated. No, from Moscow. Moscow accelerated intelligence sharing with Iran. Yes, in recent weeks they have been providing intelligence. Even before the war, they started sending intelligence to Iran so they would know exactly where to attack. We have to remember that before that, for a couple of months, the United States had been talking with several Middle Eastern countries, also asking them for intelligence information. They even had meetings with NATO, with different NATO countries, so those countries could say, look, United States, here it is. French intelligence, and the French already discovered that there, in that specific place, there is a missile launcher. And no, you didn't have that information. Here it is. And another country says, well, look, I have information that there's one here. So, in the end, they shared all that information before the attack. Well, the opposite, but let's say on the Iranian side, that's what Russia is doing, or according to what they say. John Halley, Secretary of Defense of the United Kingdom, assures that Vladimir Putin would be supporting the new tactics. Hidden hand behind the attacks, he says, I think no one would be surprised. Putin is behind some Iranian tactics and potentially in part, tecnología. Dice the same British official. Well, they must have noticed something, not about what's happening, but they said this. This isn't a coincidence. The attacks are hitting exactly where it hurts. Who's passing on that information, right? And so, investigating, somehow they must have found some information now, right? They've said it's a British official. Military officials from the United Kingdom had already identified even before, that Iranian pilots and allied militias have adopted Russian tactics and techniques to operate drones. Chajet. Intensively using what the Russians have learned in the war in Ukraine. What they've learned, they passed it on to Iran, and basically Iran is just using it now, just to give us an idea. Since February 28th, which is when the war started, about 2,000 Chajets have been launched. That's the estimate that the missiles, right? And from multiple attacks, they launch them in waves. There are days when they launch 100, 120 drones in a single day, sometimes more, sometimes less. That also varies. Let's move on to other important matters. Well, information about the missile from Turkey is starting to come out. This is the missile that would have been arriving over there. At least you can see something. Let's see the next image. Let's see if we can catch it. They're starting to notice that maybe it wasn't just a drone, but maybe there was a missile involved. Well, I can't see anything in this one. Let's see.
That spot, right?
Yes, it's possibly that little dot. Oh, look, there it is. Yes, there it is. That's it. You know what? So, it wasn't a drone. This is a ballistic missile. This is not a drone. You can even see how it enters the atmosphere, and then, well, the typical thing that ballistic missiles do. And here is this. Well, we'll see it in a moment, because this is from Sudan. And this is another image right there where the ballistic missile is entering the atmosphere. The images shared on social media claim that it's a missile heading or that headed toward the Irkling airbase. What's happening?
Well, what's going on with this case is that the first images of what's happening in Turkey are just now being released. Also, the information is still developing. Let's hope that during this live broadcast, there will be more information about whether it hit any area or what the impact was.
Well, there it is. That's the situation. It's also already known what consequences there have been from the attack on Israel. This has now been confirmed. The attack reportedly left dozens injured and buildings damaged by a missile strike in northern Israel. This is happening in Haifa. Pay attention. This is what's happening right now.
This is being reported by Cable News Network. Well, there are already fire crews responding to the direct impact of a missile. A missile hit a structure in the city of Sarsir in the north of the country, damaging several houses and causing a fire that, well, has already been extinguished, according to the Israeli Fire and Rescue Department. The Israeli Emergency Response Service says that about 30 people were treated, fortunately most with minor injuries, but among the injured is a 34-year-old woman. Some injured are in slightly more serious condition, but not moderate.
What else? What else do we have about that?
Well, the incident happened right after the sirens went off in northern Israel, and the Israeli army has said that they detected missiles fired from Iran.
So, is it also the case for Israel? Wouldn't they be drones? Or maybe they could be drones and missiles, we'll have to see. But at least that's the information coming from over there. Both from the Times of Israel, which reported it from the beginning and which we mentioned here. And now, with these American media outlets also confirming this situation, that's part of what's happening. Well, that's the issue right there. Well, let's move on to other points, which are also important. What happened, for example, in the case of France? A few moments ago, a helicopter was attacked, according to reports. France had already admitted that there were 6 injured. I don't know if this has changed.
Yes, well, one of the injured lost their life. This was reported by Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. Several people were injured. This was an attack that happened in the area of Iraq, but in Kurdistan, the part that is more controlled by the Kurds. According to Macron, says the non-commissioned officer, Arnaud Frion, from the 7th Battalion of Alpine Hunters in Barses, lost his life for France during an attack in the Erbil region in Iraq, which is one of the areas most attacked by Iran. And yes, there are several, not French.
And they are injured in the attack? Well, pay attention to what Macron says, which is also part of the current situation right now. It's about Turkey, Israel, in this case, well, Iraq, which is where the French were. The plane that crashed from the United States is claimed to be an accident, according to current information. However, the Iranians claim responsibility. There's also the matter of Abraham Lincoln, the president. To be honest, okay, in Lincoln, it's a CAE in the position that they could attack him. Why? Let's get into the details, because suddenly there are some points that need to be clarified. There are 2 aircraft carriers from the United States right now, which are on this side. The Gerald Ford, which is the one over here, the largest in the entire United States, the most modern, and so on. It's not just new. They've modernized it and brought it here. Yes, in the Eastern Mediterranean, it's very hard for them to attack since they'd have to get through all the United States defense systems. Here is Israel, there's Jordan, there's Saudi Arabia. There are many, many places that provide protection to the aircraft carrier besides the protection they have themselves, right? This one here is hard for them to attack, I insist. But the one on this side is the Abraham Lincoln. Yes, the Abraham Lincoln. They've repeatedly said they tried to attack them. Well, in this, what the United States does admit is that an Iranian ship approached and they sank it. That's what the United States says, and that's the end of the story. I mean, from their point of view, from the Iranians' point of view, well, what they say is that supposedly they managed to hit, the Abraham Lincoln. Honestly, I really doubt it because the Abraham Lincoln and the Gerald Ford, they're aircraft carriers that have 7 or 8 ships with them, and those ships are specifically there to defend the carrier. Also, aircraft carrier protection systems are typically very secure. The underwater drone that Iran has are drones that can travel about 600 kilometers. Yes, so more or less, the aircraft carrier stays about 800 kilometers away in unknown locations, obviously, because, well, they're not going to reveal it. The position is the distance, more or less. Or do they try to stay behind where the drones can reach because, well, if the drones can be easily shot down, both the Navy can sink them But if there are 7, 10, 20, 30 coming at you, well, that's a different story. So it's obviously more complicated. That's why they keep their distance. That's what I was telling you. Today it's going to be, well, the Pentagon admitted that they can't send big ships or large vessels into the Strait of Hormuz to escort the aircraft carriers, like Trump said, but Trump just says things. Dice, no, van a escoltarlos. No, they can't escort them. Iran, impossible, because they're right next to the land, they'll say. It's basically their thing, except for sailing, so it's complicated, let alone escorting the aircraft carriers, so it's more like Iran. They keep insisting they'll get closer, but they won't. So they say things like, yeah, let them come. I mean, sure, but why not? They're not going to do it. It's not going to happen, at least for now, until the United States is very sure they will go through the whole area, including Iranian territory. They're not going to send in a big ship. They don't want to. They don't want that.
Imagínense, no.
Sí. O sea, no quieren esa imagen. Entonces, pues bueno, they'll do everything they can to prevent that. Now, escorting, let's move on to other points.
That to points. So let's go to others. So let's go to other points.
Well, let's see. There was a shooter at the University of Virginia named Mohammed Yallo who shouted, the typical phrase that terrorists shout, right, while shooting at students. According to what the FBI says, this person had previously been investigated because he had terrorist materials, so he had already been investigated. I think he was from Africa. He was a student from Sierra Leone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so, but he is a former member of the United States Army National Guard. He had spent 8 years in prison for trying to help the Islamic State. And he opened fire at this school, Old Dominion University in Virginia. Today, unfortunately, one person lost their life, who I believe is him, and 2 others were injured.
Well, it's really shocking because this is an individual who had already become a naturalized United States citizen and had already been a suspect before. And that's what's surprising, but there are many cases of shootings in schools, whether it's domestic terrorism or international terrorism. Because I think this person was somehow linked to Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, I believe.
Or at least was inspired.
Inspired, at least, yeah. So many cases had already been investigated before, but for one reason or another, they don't follow up. I don't know what happens. And for example, all these kids who shoot in schools, and then the FBI says, no, well, yes, we have them investigated.
You won't be able to...
Well, yeah, no.
This person in 2016 tried to help the Islamic State, pleaded guilty, and that's why they sentenced him to years in prison. But he served 8 years, and he already has that record.
He had that record, he had been in prison, was released, and now he commits this attack. Isn't it truly unbelievable? And that's also something that stands out today. A difficult day.
And also in Norway, yes, in Norway, today there was also an attempted attack on a synagogue. Thanks to her in Oslo, it would be the second time, because if you remember, a few days ago we talked about an explosion outside the United States Embassy, also in Oslo, which is the second attempt.
Well, yes, that situation is pretty serious. Well, let's move on to another topic. Let's move on to other important matters as well. It is reported that this movement is happening. Multiple people have received the Sudanese army, which they say continues to liberate towns. This, in retreat from the Rapid Support Forces, those forces, yes. Those forces, there were 2 groups, they were friends, 2 military groups, they started a civil war. Well, actually, they overthrew a dictator, but some stayed as the army and others became a paramilitary force called the Rapid Support Forces. But they were never given any power, so they wanted some power and now they want to take it by force. The thing is, the Rapid Support Forces became extremely brutal against the people. I mean, the descriptions of this group include them entering hospitals and even entering maternity wards in hospitals. Doing the worst things you can imagine. I mean, destroying everything there, all the life that's there. I mean, it's insane. The other day yesterday I shared some images of this group specifically already riding in jeeps in the desert. And honestly, it reminded me of Mad Max. But even crazier, I mean, the faces, everyone here, it's just, I mean, really, really crazy. So that's why when people go and chase them away, just look at how they welcome the army. I mean, it's good, it's incredible what's happening. According to reports, right now, these rebels are having logistical problems, they're having supply problems, they're having weapons problems. The main financier of this group is the United Arab Emirates. That's why I'm saying, look, see what they're doing. Where are the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia involved? Those Gulf dictatorships seem really cool. They seem really cool because the buildings are really beautiful. Everything looks very organized, very controlled, but that's it. Follow the money and follow where the groups they're controlling in Yemen are, the ones they're controlling in Sudan, like in this case. And you say, I mean, they have a really strong expansionist agenda. And on top of that, they're putting money into some really crazy groups. So I don't think it's right. It seems like a mistake by the United States. They've been selling them weapons over and over. They've kept selling them weapons. Trump even sold them F-35s. Is that a mistake? So it's like good dictatorships against bad dictatorships, so to speak, right? And so that's a huge mistake that, well, sooner or later there are consequences. And this group, interestingly enough, I mean, the Rapid Forces group is sponsored by the United Arab Emirates. So, well, this time they're losing, but if they had won, I mean, it would be crazy for the population. Well, let's move on to other important matters as well.
Well, Larijani, this person who was basically Ali Khamenei's right-hand man, whom many within the regime would have liked to have as a leader, but since he doesn't have the dogmatic studies, he can't be the supreme leader. Well, today he has come out again to make threats, and they claim that the war will not end until the enemies, yes, until the enemies regret their serious miscalculation. And he promises that they will set the region on fire until the damages done inside Iran are paid for.
Let's move on to other matters. Let's go to other topics. But right now we're going to have a summary of all the images, the most interesting ones, the most important things that have been happening. And also some topics that have to do with other matters, what's going on. For example, an earthquake that happened in Turkey, by the way, between Turkey and Greece. That's where the earthquake occurred, from what I see. But anyway, we'll talk more about it in a moment.
Another threat he makes, and with this, is that he says they can leave the United States without power. They just made this threat. They say that the whole United States will be left in darkness in half an hour. In half an hour, the entire country, supposedly, according to them.
I mean, Larijani is acting tough.
Really tough.
I mean, Larijani, the other day he posted a comment on his tweet because they have their own Twitter account and everything. So he posted a comment, something like warning Latron to watch out for his life. And I don't know. I mean, he's getting really intense, right?
Yes, really intense. And this is a reaction to a comment Trump made because Trump threatened to leave Iran without power and said that in an hour he could cut off electricity to the whole country. So he says, well, I can cut off all your power in half an hour. It's kind of suddenly funny. I mean, if you look at it that way, because they seem like two little kids fighting.
Yes, well, but it is a war. Also from rares.
Also, yes.
Quickly, some of the most interesting images of today, well, that's the ballistic missile that would be entering Adana towards the south of Turkey. Supposedly, it found a United States base. Also, well, here it is. These are the explosions that have been heard in some parts of Turkey. Let's listen to the sirens. Also, in today's images, well, it shows this movement towards Haifa, right? Some injuries have already been reported. According to the report coming from Israel, this image has also been reported. That's an avalanche that reportedly happened. This is in Pakistan, according to the reports. What is known about this attack? What is it called? This natural event, this phenomenon.
With the heat, well, these, let's say, icebergs in the mountains have been disappearing. Unfortunately, they are starting to melt, and, well, it's a significant loss of water for these countries.
Well, we also see this volcano, a volcano that, well, in Kamchatka also generates a tremendous plume of smoke. More or less, to give you an estimate, the plume of smoke was about 8,200 meters, that is 8 kilometers high. Impressive what we see in Kamchatka. Also here, what are we seeing here?
We are seeing floods that occurred in Italy at Rome's airport Fiumicino.
Also, today the markets are showing dramatic changes. The markets in the United States turned red. There were losses in almost every sector except for oil, because oil is still going up. I mean, in terms of price, it's still rising. According to reports, the United States stock market suffered a very sharp drop. More or less, what would be $1 trillion in the United States, or what for us would be like $1 billion? Yes, I mean, more or less. What was lost in money? Yes, I mean, $1 million. It's impressive how much had been lost now. This is, well, part of the consequences of this conflict. If we look at it quickly on the chart, the S&P 500 had this drop. Look, let's see if we can show it. It's this drop. Look, it's a drop from the 500, but it's not just any drop. It already has something behind it. Well, several days. Let's see, from the 28th, which is when it starts to become more noticeable, this drop is from here. Look. I mean, there was already a slight drop by itself, but this drop, well, starting from the 28th, it became a much more significant drop. Same with the Nasdaq. There's also a drop reported, although they already had a bigger drop. They had recovered, but then there was another drop. The Nasdaq just can't seem to bounce back.
Asian markets have already opened lower.
Let's see the Asian markets. Well, there you have it. The Nikkei is still struggling to see if it can rise. It's still fighting. This is Korea, and Korea is going up. I mean, they started lower than yesterday. This is yesterday's price. They started lower. That's why they say they're down, because even though it looks green here, notice the price is below yesterday's, so they started lower. But at least it looks like the price is bouncing back, so that's also positive in the markets, right? Let's not pay too much attention to how they open. Sometimes they open lower, and it's what they call a fake out move. Yes, they open lower and then bounce back, or the other way around. They open apparently higher and then drop. So those are also games, manipulations going on there. Always wait 2 or 3 hours. The market will tell you what the reality is, more or less, of how things are going. So right now they're just opening, so it's not very clear. They opened lower, but apparently they're going up. The oil, which is already active, is holding steady right now. I mean, it's not going down or up. It's holding at $97, as we can see right now, 97.92, almost $98 is the price they have now. It's there holding steady. We'll still have to wait and see how it closes in Asia, and then we'll see how it continues from there. Well, in any case, first Europe and then the United States, Mexico. But yes, in Mexico, it didn't close well either. I mean, today it closed lower. There was a significant drop in the Mexican stock market. I mean, it's been falling for several days now. I mean, it's a topic that I feel is barely being talked about here in Mexico, but it's important to check on that. And the price of the dollar is pretty high. I mean, it's been trending upward, although it's still at a relatively stable price. 1780 doesn't seem that bad to me either. It's not really an exaggeration, actually. Remember that not too long ago it was in the 20s. So it's not like that. But anyway, let's move on to another topic. Another one of the images. This image is also from what happened over there in Oslo. No, let's see if they are well. Military personnel are not guarding the areas where this terrorist attack is said to have happened. Over there in Norway?
Exactly. It's not about the Trondheim synagogue. And well, it was heard that a car approached, several gunshots were heard, but fortunately there are no reports of anyone injured or anyone who lost their life. Right now, the police are looking for the suspects, and there is a second suspect.
Well, let's see what happens. We also have another image.
Exactly. It's an image that just came out of the attack that was carried out by Iran on Dubai. That famous tower, these towers they have in Dubai are called Creek Harbor, which would have been attacked by these drones. Shahed, no, well, they're cheap, but they're so destructive and tremendous.
They send you 10 or 20 at a time, so it's hard to take them all down. It's just that this, regardless, hopefully it didn't affect anyone. But I think that right now these towers must be evacuated, I suppose, because of everything that's happening. But no, I don't know. I don't have that information, but they're there. They're really close to some. We're going to fly. Well, it depends. It depends on the speed, but since they're not very fast missiles, maybe 2 or 3 hours from there, but who knows how many drones they'll send you. Just imagine the kind of attacks that are happening, and especially if they continue. Every day the most important figures of the regime come out, except for the supreme leader, but Argacho base comes out, the spokesperson for the guard comes out. No, we are not attacking the countries. We are not attacking the Gulf countries. I don't know what. And every day they're attacking, and not just once, many times they're constantly attacking.
So what's the logic of attacking a building like this?
No, well, it's to create instability, to create problems, to destroy the tourism of those countries that have grown a lot. It's to paralyze them. They're paralyzing those countries at all costs. That's what they're after. And well, so far there hasn't been any way to stop that. They can say whatever they want. They say we're done. Trump said they've already won, that it's over, but if this keeps happening, well, that would be a mistake. Obviously, now here we are seeing Here
we are watching the attack that just happened in the north of Israel, which we were talking about in Sarsir, which fortunately is now being reported by the Times of Israel. Most of the people who were injured were hurt by the impact of the glass.
It was something very minor, yes.
Yes, there are some cases of nervous breakdowns, glass injuries, falls, but other than that, it's not a very serious matter.
That's tough either way. Obviously, I went through an experience like that. It was really intense, but when the injuries are minor, you say they were lucky because obviously it could have been much worse. They keep insisting in Israel and in the areas where there are alerts that people should take shelter, he himself prays. Pahlavi, the son of the Shah, sent a second message again today, which we already played this morning, where he told the people there in Iran, listen, take shelter or stay away from government areas. Because obviously there is a risk right now.
Not important, and decisive while they prepare for the final phase of the fight. I insist that for now, avoid going out into the streets.
Avoid going out into the streets, right? Pahlavi says, yesterday he was saying, gather water, gather food, gather medicine, prepare with supplies, because obviously things are going to continue now. He says, stay away from military and government facilities, military infrastructure as well. In other words, stay away from all of that because there is a risk for the population in that regard. And he also asked them not to go to work. In other words, Pahlavi's idea is for the country of Iran to come to a complete standstill so that the regime will have to give in. And they have to say, well, this is as far as it goes, the matter is over. There's also the constant warning to the Revolutionary Guard that Trump tells them, there's an amnesty for you. You won't be prosecuted, but you have to lay down your arms. They have been given not just one, but several opportunities. And that's also another of the constant messages being given on this issue. Well then, let's move on to other matters. Let's move on to other important topics as well. There's been a very curious story, very interesting, and one that could happen to a lot of people, right? This man was caught by a house camera and it caught his attention. The delivery man is clearly around 80 years old, right? Yeah, more or less. You see, the man was struggling with the app, barely able to leave the delivery. What do they call it? The order? The food? He's not a DD delivery guy or anything, right? Yeah, no.
DoorDash, he's the DoorDash delivery guy. What's it called? DoorDash is here. It's not good.
An app like that, right? So the person who saw him was really surprised by the internet, right? But they were also surprised by his age because he's working, right? In something like this, it's not so complicated to say, okay. So they started looking for information about him and asked for donations, right? The donation was called Give Richard a Chad. I mean, because he did some research, he found him. And so he realized that he was a 78-year-old man who works in Tennessee as a delivery driver. After his wife Brenda lost her job, his current income doesn't cover their monthly housing and medication expenses. So the man started working. Well, he delivers Starbucks orders. And noticing that this task was very difficult for him, the person who saw him at this house helped him out. I mean, well, through donations, he got $300,000 from people all over the world who started donating when they saw his story so that the person could have, let's say, a decent retirement, right? Yes, but I mean, how many of these cases are there and how many more will there be in many places, right? It's a significant problem, in many parts of the world. And well, this time it's a story that goes viral. In that sense, another thing that stands out is this moment, right?
I know. Today it was Maria Corina, and to Chile, to Santiago de Chile. Well, the number of Venezuelans, especially who went to see her, is impressive. Honestly, no. There wasn't even a beggar. Not even a pin could fit in there. There were just too many people.
That's why when they said in Chile, no, they say, oh, there are so many more Venezuelans. Oh, wow, now I see. I think that's true. There are many. How could there not be? So, Maria Corina visits Chile. They have this meeting with, mostly Venezuelan people, obviously, but there were also Chileans. You probably have to go around, but it's impressive. The welcome she gets over there, too. Well, it's said, according to the Cuban government itself, that tomorrow they're going to give a message at 7:30 in the morning. It's a message to be given to the nation. I don't know. I think I was just talking about it with Jerez. We agree that it's probably just talk, right? I mean, it's probably just talk. No, well, I don't know. No, I don't think it's going to surprise us, honestly.
But today they released 5 political prisoners.
Also, imagine if he says, no, well, starting tomorrow, socialism is over. I don't know. Now we're going to be a tax haven. Now, yes.
Now we're embracing capitalism.
We're going to make the Hong Kong of the Caribbean.
We'll start the small oil business.
And let the dollars, the euros, and the bitcoins rain down, and let them put on those silver sunglasses, a chain with the little money symbol, and just imagine now. Obviously, no. Obviously, he's gonna keep. He's not gonna start giving military speeches, right? Not military speeches, but rather, speeches like Castro's from Castro. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows what this guy is going to say? But, it will be interesting, obviously, to stay alert. Here it's 5 in the morning. We'll probably have the first broadcast, and at, 7 or 8, I don't know. We'll already be reacting to whatever he said, if it was something interesting and not just more talk, right? That's also important. What else do we have over there? What
over here?
What else is there about what's happening in Iran, in Israel?
Well, today, the United States claims that they have already attacked 6,000 targets in Iran, which is quite an intense number. That's what the United States Central Command says, that in these 13 days of war, they've already reached this number. Among them, about 30 mine layers, which are the ones that lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz and almost. And also, the government of Iran reports almost 2,000 deaths in this war. By the way, the other day I saw a guy who says he has an acquaintance who works at the hospital in Iran. And he says that most of those who arrive injured are indeed military. They are people, officials, and it's very rare for civilians to arrive. Which is good. That's good news.
Well, yeah,
The plates just got flipped over, huh?
Yeah. I mean, in the end... in war, you understand that there are those collateral damages, but, you have to do everything possible to avoid them, right? That should be at least within war. One of the rules, if not written, but they actually are written. A 5.7 earthquake this in Turkey, according to reports. But we have, yes, look. The earthquake happened in this area in the north of Turkey. It was said to be 5.7, but now it's at 5.3 after adjustments anyway. The depth wasn't much. It's a depth of 10 kilometers, 5.3, there it is. According to the United States Geological Survey, it shows that it's a 5.3, which, by the way, was the strongest earthquake in the world today, in these days. So now, from what I'm seeing, the earthquake happened on the 12th, because right now it's already the 13th. So, well, this happened on the 12th, I think, it seems to me. Although maybe, it's showing my time zone, I think. We should check right now. I suspected it was the 13th, but here it shows the 12th. Maybe it's showing my time zone, right? Yes, I think so. Look, yes, I think so. Yes, it's showing my time zone. It must have been then. Yeah, easily. Around 11 or 12 at night, that's probably when the earthquake happened. At the moment, I don't have any information about whether there was any kind of damage or anything, but we can check on that in a bit. Big greetings, by the way, to Walter Osorio, Blanca Barcelo, Roble, Wilco, and the whole community that's joining in. Thank you so much. Well, let's move on to another topic. Let me just check if I have any pending images. Well, it looks like that's it. Well, yes, this is an Iranian Boeing 747. Take a look, another one of these Boeings that the Iranians have and that, well, they would have destroyed, right? The images of a tanker plane. This would be the last operational KC-747 tanker plane in Iran, still functioning while on fire. This happened after an attack on the Marebat International Airport in Tehran, in the capital. No, there it is. Well, not that one. There it is. That's the plane. That's the plane. Well, that's how things are. Thank you.
Turkey. No injuries reported. Apparently it was very deep.
No, 10 kilometers.
Which in another source was reported as 35.
No, the court settled on 10. Yes, it was set at 10 kilometers. Well, that's how things stand for now. Let's move on to the comments. How have you been? How's it going? Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to everyone in the community who watches us on Facebook, who watches us on Twitter, and to those coming from other channels as well. Thank you very much. Maybe you're not from or closely connected to this community, or you belong to others, but you still join us. Well, thank you very much, and a big shout out to these YouTubers as well. Well, there are several here. There's Jerez, right? Some are new while others have been here longer, but it's great they reach out and share their perspectives with us. We're really glad to have that exchange with some of them. And if some of you are watching us and you're YouTubers, it doesn't matter if you're small or big. Well, I appreciate it if you send us a message. And well, staying in touch doesn't mean agreeing on everything. In the end, it's about sharing and helping each other, because it's not about agreeing, it's more about looking out for each other. In the end, we are colleagues, we are communicators, and I think it's really important to have that contact. Thanks to those who already do this and bring something. Also, thanks to the community. They may not be communicators, but they live abroad, face challenges, and send us information. I'm really grateful for that, because it also helps to confirm some of the things that are happening out there, right? Thank you very much.
Also, greetings to Peter Jensen, who says, I view the world movement as more positive in Latin America than the Middle East. Congratulations on the program. Thank you, Peter.
Greetings, Peter. Thanks for your interesting comments. Greetings to Miguel Fiete, who sends a big hello from Uruguay to Miguel and his family. I believe the photo shows him with his son. Greetings, Miguel. What a cool captain's hat, right? Very nice. And also to Francisco Arce.
Greetings, Francisco.
You're from Mexico City, right, Francisco? How have you been? How are things there? Babies, greetings to Venezuela. How are things there? Angie also sends greetings. Do we know what happened with Israel's new prime minister from Iran? They were detained. There's confusing information everywhere. No, with the minister of Israel, he's there. He doesn't have any problem.
He's more protected than anyone.
Yes, no, or actually right now, he sent a message recently and we already shared it here. Hi, Angie. How have you been? Greetings, very good. Roble Miguel, also a big greeting, he says. A united community will never be defeated. Greetings, Miguel. Exactly, that's the point. It's not just that we're a community. I'm not only referring to the community here on the channel, but also among other YouTubers and communicators. I feel that it is very important, especially in these times, well, to defend each other and help each other, because, yeah, there already is, as it is. Well, this unfair competition with the giant media companies, just imagine we have to unite, right? In that sense. Daniel or Daniela? Daniel Lopez, right? Daniel Lopez. Greetings, Daniel. Greetings all the way to Panama. How are you, Daniel? Greetings.
Greetings. Greetings to Marcela Riquelme. She says, we are very united and loving in this chat. We have to take care of each other, says Marcela. Greetings.
Greetings. I totally agree, Marcela. Greetings all the way to Chile. That's great.
Greetings. Wilcox says that since tanks and troops from the United States are entering NATO into Iran, says Wilcox. Greetings, Wilcox. It's not that easy to just go in like that.
No, right? It's that easy. Greetings, Francisco. Yes, right from Mexico City itself. Hey, and now, talking here with the community of Chilango friends. Do you already call it Ciudad de Mexico, or do you still call it Distrito Federal? Do you still call it Distrito Federal? Because I kind of understand that internally everyone, yes, it's still Distrito Federal, but externally it's like, yes, Ciudad de Mexico, like that. Or does everyone already call it Ciudad de Mexico? Have you all forgotten about Distrito Federal? Or what's up? Tell me, does the day have an end?
Greetings to Maricela, who's been seeing a lot of fake news about the war. My husband and I wait for you guys to talk about it.
Cheers. He says,
100% true, thank you very much.
Big greetings, Maricela. Yes, obviously we have that obsession, like always trying to verify. Obviously, when we say it's preliminary or if it's a rumor, well, it's a rumor. When we say it's a rumor, it's always when it has some evidence, but taking into account that it's a rumor, we label it that way, like the letters in the notes. Be careful with this information. It's a rumor. There are signs that the news happening is positive, but we warn you because suddenly, well, obviously it could turn out not to be.
I remember there was a rumor we talked about, just in case it's not true, that something very bad had happened to her health.
The crime had generated that rumor, which was later revealed because of what they did. Well, actually, every now and then there's a rumor that something happened to Putin. By now, nobody pays attention to it anymore. But at first, everyone would say, hey, this is happening. Supposedly, these are internal matters for them to catch the traitors. So, they pretend like something happened to him. Let's see who reacts, right? Now, nobody falls for it anymore. They don't do it now, but they used to. By the way, let's see. What's happening in Russia? They're so focused on the Middle East that some things are escaping our notice. A lot of very intense things from Russia, classic also from Russia, making important moves when everyone else is looking the other way. But about a week or two ago, they arrested a former Russian defense minister. Yesterday or the day before, they reported and confirmed that a general jumped, right? In quotes, jumped or was made to jump, not out of a window. And there have been several events happening where now there is information. These are the kinds of things that obviously Russia is never going to confirm. In which there has been, or maybe there still is, a movement among the military against Vladimir Putin. There's a sector that sees that Russia's position has been weakened, honestly. Yes, Russia's position has honestly been weakened. In those 4 years, the only positive outcome for Russia is that they gained more war experience. But at the cost of 1 million fewer people, at the cost of an economic loss, at the cost of NATO now being stronger, you say, okay, what's the point of all that experience if now NATO is stronger? And now? The problem with Russia is that right now it isn't. It's not that Ukraine has all the information about its weak points. It's that everyone has the information because this has been very public. It's full of cameras. It's full of satellites. All the satellites of intelligence that must be watching right now. And even, intelligence people who are inside the war are also watching all the points, the strong points and the weak points of Russia. So 4 years of conflict leave you in a very bad position, especially because now we've realized that Russia doesn't have an air defense system. No, there is no air defense system. But you say, well, okay, you can't protect all of Russia. I would understand that Russia is very big, but that you can't protect Moscow from little drones. How is that possible? They're always saying all day long, no, we shoot down the drones, but that's not true. You can clearly see in a bunch of videos where the drone comes in and hits. You never see that. There are people watching from above, obviously, but in many cases the drones come in like it's nothing, like they're just playing around to Moscow, the capital. You think this is a huge weak spot, and I don't think they're okay with that. Well, the military doesn't like this, right? They preferred to keep that ultra superpower status, which they did have.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. The documentaries, there's one from Deutsche Welle before the war where you think, wow, they're the best, right?
And with all this, well, yeah, it's really, really intense. So, well, something's happening in Russia. Thank you very much, Maricela. Greetings also to Wilcox, says Pepe. And the bears from San Pedro Nuevo Leon, right? In the past, not so many have come out, but the ones that have are really fat.
Now they are, of course, they're really fat now.
But it's exaggerated. Yeah.
They look like a ball. I hadn't seen them like that before, but since the winter wasn't too cold, I think they stayed out there. I'm not sure if the ones here hibernate, but when it's very cold, they build big nests. Greetings to Erica Paredes. I hope justice is served for those girls. Yes, really, greetings to Jerez, someone says. Today there were union protests in Venezuela. Yes, they went in, they tried to get into Congress from what I saw, and they're losing control. Union members weren't afraid of the police. They easily passed the blockades and demanded to speak with Rodriguez.
I saw the images.
I lost them, man. Greetings to Manuel Monos.
That's very positive.
For Venezuela, it's crucial they overcome their fear.
That they lose their fear, feel empowered, and the government knows there are limits. You can't just jail protesters who weren't even in Congress.
Whatever they want. Greetings to Pepe Martinez and Pepe. If gas prices are sky high, it was at 3.85 and now it's gone up to 4.15. There are 3 types of gasoline because of different grades.
Yes. It's between 3.85 and 4.15. I mean, that's the normal price. Or it did go up. No, it doesn't say that there.
What are you saying? Okay.
Is that the normal price? Greetings, Manuel Munoz. How have you been? That's it. It's all over. It seems like they're saying goodbye. Well, not exactly a farewell, but yes, let's say the news part is over now, right? I mean, that's in the past now. Greetings, Manuel. How have you been? By the way, a big greeting to Anna Gill. Regards.
Thank you so much, Anna.
For that happiness, and obviously thank you so much for that amazing opportunity as well. Greetings to Costa Rica. If it's true that it's Costa Rica, greetings to Costa Rica. That's what they say. That's what they always say.
That life is...
That it's pure life.
Pure life, pure...
That phrase is awesome. Pure life, right?
Greetings, yes, says Francisco.
Sorry, the country with no army,
Francisco say, that's great. Francisco Arce says. Ciudad de Mexico, not even Bancomer or Twitter or the Distrito Federal.
Not anymore. Now it's just Ciudad de Mexico.
Greetings to Dieguito. Greetings.
And no, from Bancomer too. I mean, yes, way further back.
Right? We went over there, yes.
Not even Gigante either.
Says Egides. Nothing with the Falaco. Like Pepe said, he sends messages almost daily. And the new supreme leader, no one really knows. It's speculated that he's in a coma and that he lost a leg, but it hasn't been confirmed. Yes.
What they say about him is exactly that.
That yes, he is injured, yes he is.
The injury is to his leg. One of his legs. Some say he doesn't have it anymore, and he has a very serious injury to his abdomen.
That's the strong version?
The strong version. And
the mild version from the Iranian says he hurt his foot and has facial scratches, but if that were true, I think he would have come out to make a statement.
Of course, just imagine the message, the strength it would have if he came out like that, with the wounds, just like that. But giving a statement, I mean, obviously it's not. I mean, honestly, if I had to bet, I would bet. Because he's either unconscious or in such bad shape he can't speak, I have no idea what's happening.
He says, Claudio says, good evening. What doesn't make sense is how the United States just erases Iran, or if this is a game, nothing fits here, he says. Claudio. Greetings, Claudio.
How have you been? Claudio, big greetings. And well, look, I feel like what's going to happen is this. That's what I feel. And I don't know, I'm just guessing, but I feel like the option was to speed things up a little and with something impactful, but just speed things up a little. Al-Hijamini is over and some infrastructures are done, right? Second day, it sped up more. The first 3 days, there were like 2,000 targets. It sped up, but then it kind of paused. And then they saw that they didn't want to negotiate, so they sped up a lot more. And now they really started to bomb. There are already 6,000 targets. Are there any signs that they want to surrender? Not a single one. So now. Yeah, I mean, in that sense, the pressure is on now. I think that's also the game, right? It's the game for the Iranians. It's about putting pressure on Trump. There's something I mentioned today. I don't know if you saw the report, but there's a shortwave radio sending a signal in Persian in Europe from Western Europe, where a signal is detected that sends random numbers in Persian, right? And some like key sounds like T2 T2 T2. Exactly. So who knows what that is, but it started the day they eliminated Hijamine. So, well, no, maybe it's just to create fear, right? But there is someone is playing a prank, let's say, that's been going on for several days. Well, everyone is asking, what could that ugly thing be?
Not exactly, says Nyla Thorpe here. Yesterday, someone had already passed away in Sanyajo on another channel. Yes, well, it's just that those channels that dare to say something like that, so exaggerated, well, it's really something, huh? If you say something like that, well, what else will they say? Greetings also to Christy Sola. Once again, she didn't let me know nothing, but I saw the comments. Hi, Christy. I sent it, I swear, through WhatsApp and Telegram and Xe, through Facebook and Instagram.
I saw that you skipped Christy.
I saw Christy. No, I said. She says, Luna tells me, does anyone know if it's true that another bomb fell on the Golden Mosque in Jerusalem? Look, I haven't seen anything about that.
But let's check.
Yes, greetings to Emilio, she says. Yes, he has lost a leg, it doesn't matter, but not his dignity, says Emilio. Greetings to Emilio. I think so. It has to be very serious not to show your face right now. What they believe is that most of them, and the people from the Iranian government, who everyone is talking about, where are they? It's just that they're all the way on the other side of the country, over there in Mashhad.
Yes.
To care for themselves, right? Say hi to Luis.
Yes, possibly.
Rodriguez says, don't try to rationalize what those religious fanatics want to achieve. Regards,
Luis. How have you been? Very good.
Greetings to Ofe. How are you, Ofe?
Big greetings, Ofe.
Martin Gutierrez says, what happened with the strategy? That one about attacking the neighbors? I don't get it. For what? To get more attacks from their neighbors?
No, I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you why the neighbors haven't responded. I mean, they attacked the neighbors, because that, in theory, could collapse the world economy. Basically, that's it. I mean, they hit someone else so that the others put pressure on the United States. Hey, calm down, because things will get ugly and the global economy will worsen. So, it's a really strange attack, but it's actually an indirect attack on the world's economy. I mean, basically, it's like, let's do our thing and let everyone else get burned.
Well, that's how they said it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how it is. It's the classic, if I go down, I'm taking everyone with me. You know, with me, yeah. Well, that's the reason why.
Very much like a soap opera.
Huh? But why? But there's a reason. I mean, there's a reason. And if you look back, there are many analysts who already warned about it. Well, many. That's always been talked about. The famous Hormuz closure. How many times have we talked about it here? Well, a bunch of times. That was like the atomic weapon, in quotes, of the Iranians. If they close the Strait of Hormuz, well, it's not going to be very easy, or let's say it's going to be extremely complicated for it to be sustainable. About the reserves, there are a lot of reserves like that. I mean, the United States has a ton of reserves. The G7 and Japan and so on, they have their reserves. But if this whole area collapses, then yes, it's going to take a while to react and figure out how to solve it. But also, the problem, the danger for the Iranians is that these countries are reaching their limit. And the moment they get fed up and say, you know what? That's it. We can't do it anymore and have to live with these attacks. And what do you think will happen if this continues? Well, besides the fact that the economy could be affected, they might try to bring in forces along the entire coast. I mean, just imagine, it would basically be like creating a security belt in this whole area to protect everything here. Basically, it would mean taking the sea away from the Iranians, which would be, just imagine, it would be a war that might be long, and watch out, there's a big risk for the Iranians, which is this island. This island is the one that produces 90-something% of the Iranians' oil. I mean, just imagine, this country is rich in oil, but it's rich because of this little island. So this little island, imagine how easy it is to attack it. Look, see for yourselves, there are no mountains, there's nothing. I mean, is it flat or is it a desert island full of oil deposits? Yes, from there, a good percentage of the oil that comes from the Iranians comes out. If they attack it, I mean, if they attack this island, what's it called? Dekar, right? Well, it would be, an island that would leave the Iranians with a collapsed economy for a long time, right? Obviously, you don't want to get to that point, right? I mean, because getting to that point would also be, well, a last resort. At that point, we're also considering what other plans the Iranians might have, right?
Yes, absolutely. The impact would be huge. Donald Trump has already warned about it. For example, when Israel attacked those 30 barrels or like containers of gasoline, of oil, he did ask for more restraint because he doesn't want it to have such a big impact either. That the people themselves turn against the attacks that are being carried out? Exactly.
And since we're on this topic, while we're reading comments, look here, I have the exact data about the island. This island is called Iran's oil plug. Approximately 90% of the oil that Iran exports leaves from this island. It's the country's main oil loading terminal with huge storage tanks and docks for supertankers. Yes. Iraq already bombed that place in the 80s, yes. Look, from 1980 to 1988, Iraq bombed the island 200 times. Just imagine, there was already an oil war in the 80s between Iraq and Iran, and they attacked that island in a tremendous way. Yes, it's about 25 kilometers from the coast of Iran, more or less. Just imagine. And well, it's been known for a long time that there have been ruins. By the way, Christian tombs from the 7th century have been found carved into very ancient rocks, and there are remains of the presence of Greeks and ancient Persians. Also, well, it's a relatively small island. It's an island. From the long side, from this side to that side. It's 5 kilometers. Just imagine, it was about 3 kilometers and a kilometer from here. It's a small island that you can go around in just a little while. You can make a full circle around the whole island. Easily by bike, it's even faster, right? But it moves a lot of oil, doesn't it? Just imagine how easy it is to attack it. If someone wanted to, if things got serious, how long do you think it would take? 2 hours? In 2 hours, they could wipe out 90% of Iran's oil for years, right? So for years, they won't have any chance to recover their economy, at least not with oil. And then besides, even if they managed to get the island back, they'd have to rebuild everything here to be able to extract oil again, sell it, and so on. They have a huge Achilles heel. They have a really big Achilles heel in that sense. And, well, that would be another one of the points they could attack. But anyway, he says, let's continue.
He says that for Claudio, he says, Israel could make that island disappear in 5 minutes. Why hasn't he done it? That's another thing I don't understand, he says. Claudio, greetings, Claudio.
They won't do it since that's a last resort. That's an existential level. Not only do you wipe out the government, but you also affect the population. At that point, maybe people would side with the Iranians. Right now, the population is not in favor of the regime. The people want the regime out. So, Iran and the United States don't want to do anything too serious that would make the population turn against the United States and Israel. Right now, we've posted a lot of videos showing Iranians even playing the guitar while they watch the regime being bombed. The population doesn't get along, doesn't coexist, doesn't want to be with the regime. So they're going to try to keep the population as protected as possible, so to speak, and attack the regime. Attacking that would affect the population for years. So I think that's Satiro's last resort. So there's going to be some kind of containment.
She says, here, Guadalupe, everything has to do with the Middle Eastern economy. It all revolves around oil. Greetings, Guadalupe. For all the living beings and animals that live in the sea, where those ships are bombed, the birds and those creatures that live under the toxic clouds, and the noise and the destruction, yes, it's something terrible, right? Yes.
Today we had a sparrow visit us here at the house, by the way. A little sparrow came in. It was flying around here for a while and then it left.
He says, Dad again, the joke. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 6 months. Is the door that far away? He says, I got a flat tire, and the tire doesn't get changed. Do you have a jack? Yes, but he doesn't know how to change it either.
And jack for what? Come on, change it, Jack. What are the names of those who have jacks here? What are your jacks called? I have a theory, but I'm not going to say it. I have a theory.
A theory about what?
About the names of the cats. Tell me, what are your cats called? Those of you who have kittens? Can you tell me your kittens' names or what you would name them? For example, I had 3 cats named this, and this. I want to confirm the theory. I'm probably wrong, but if not, well, here I go, he says. They're spreading misinformation and they're very ignorant, he says. Crochet, in your infinite wisdom, enlighten us, Crochet. Enlighten us with your wisdom instead of criticizing and, well, I don't know, insulting, Crochet. So enlighten us with your great wisdom and we'll gladly read your comments here.
Greetings, says Miguel Alejandro here. At any moment, they'll make a bypass channel for Hormuz, Saudi Arabia. They have a pipeline for this very reason that goes out to the Red Sea. For the same reason, because you already know them, so why invite them? Obviously, they already have a pipeline that goes to the other side.
The other side, which is also easy to attack, but anyway.
Yes, they can also be attacked at any moment.
Says Miguel Nishi. Avellana, says Brazeka, says, my cat's name is Logan Ronin and he recently passed away. Cami says, Beto, how have you been?
Greetings.
Says, please, tell us the truth, Crochet. Yes, please, Crochet. Enlighten us. Tell us the truth.
My kitten's name is Bambucha. Oh, how cute, Bambucha.
Greetings.
Big Omar.
Very good, he says. Her name is Nubis, says Omar from New York. Very beautiful, both Egyptians.
Greetings to Clay, who says Camila. Camila says Michu.
Michu.
And Robles from Michu. Also Peque Hunter. Michu is just a very common one.
Yes, Onyx and Candy Spin. No, then I'm wrong in my theory.
I have 3 cats. Their names are Caramelo, Nero, and Chucha. And Chucha, and Chucha, and Chucha. Why don't I have a more local name? She says we have 5.
Let's see. And what are their names?
She already told us.
That's it. Caramelo, Nero, Chucha are here, but some are missing, right? Where are the rest?
They're missing.
This one?
It says my cat's name is Trotsky.
Turkey.
His name is Iran. He attacked Turkey again. Sorry.
Yes. He attacked Turkey again.
We commented exactly?
Exactly. Yes, he says. Diana, he says, I like it a lot. Thank you so much, Diana. A big greetings. And it's so cool that you were here for a while in the live stream.
He says, Luz. She says, I have 3 cats. They're Gigi, Mandy, and Michito.
And they're years old. Oh, Geppetto, okay? Veronica says Gigi and Michito. There are many Michitos.
Michitos. It's just a very common word, says Veronica Gina. Bizcocho. For obvious reasons. There's Bizcocho, I imagine. She says, Misho and Hades.
Hades, Gina, and Bizcocho. I saw it already. Look, there's Veronica and South Song, Miko and Hades.
We have had Paco, Chuen, Octavio, Zoe, and the last one is Titi Geppetto.
Little cat, which turned out to be a boy.
Her name was Cookie, but it turned out to be a male, and he was called Tito for months.
We used to call her Tita, and it turned out he was a Tito.
So we call him Cookie.
Tita says...
Tito, well, yes.
Tito, your favorite Octavio, right?
Octavio was the best. Yes, he was the best. Well...
They didn't steal that one? No, I had, because I just realized I didn't have it. The theory that cats are usually given more human names than dogs. No, but it's balanced, right? Yes, what I'm saying is balanced. Yes, many with people's names. We've used more people's names for cats.
Yes, 3 had people's names, Paco, Octavio, and Zoe.
And no, well, the other one, not the other one. Actually, it means monkey in Mayan. And the other one?
Tito, well, Tito, yes, his name.
Well, yes.
His name is a nickname, right? Yes, cheers.
Luis Este. But, well, I thought there would be more people's names because with dogs there usually are. I feel like, it's more varied. Not so much with people, actually. It's kind of rare to see it with people. Well, not so much anymore. Now it's being used more and more with people.
Mauro says his cat is so unfriendly he hasn't even named him.
He says, here are the lawyer's dad's names, he says. He says one was named Christian Fernando, another Christian Eduardo, another Christian Manuel, another Christian Ivan, and another Christian Raul.
That's a soap opera joke, right, brother? This one says...
He says, I had 5 cats, each replacing the last. That's why they were all named Christian. Not Christian, but another Christian.
Yeah, just like naming them Snowball 1, 2, and so on. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Before Jesus Naro, hi, dear parents. Thank you so much for keeping us informed. I imagine this is a challenge with so much change in the world. I've been with you since 5:15 a.m. Thank you very much, Jesus.
Yes, well, it is. We also have to balance the normal life we have as human beings, right? But this,
With great pleasure. We are here.
well, yes, we organize ourselves a lot. The trick for us here is to be very organized, to always be reading the comments too. You help us a lot because you send us comments. Hey, Pepe, have you seen this? Did you see there's gold? What? I don't know what. So right away, we are verifying and checking what's happening. So it's possible, especially when situations like this come up, to be able to broadcast. What we decided to do is to broadcast like short or medium segments during the day. Let us update everything. Before, we combined everything, making the videos too long, and people would ask, Pepe, didn't you mention this topic? And I would say, no, I did talk about it, but you didn't see the end of the video, you didn't see the middle. So it's better if we make them a little shorter.
It looks like a little cat named Michi Alberto.
Michi Alberto,
Well, that's the husband.
Kelly, Camila, Tintin, Frogus, how interesting.
The name is really nice.
See?
And Beto Barbas too. He had Trela and one with Trigger, named after the trigger of guns in English. Then there was Jack, like a car jack.
Ay.
And Maria Barrios says, my kitten's name is Suki. I have another one named Kiki and Milo.
Kiki, Milo, wow. I get the impression after seeing so many cat comments that this might be more of a cat community than a dog one.
Well, what happens is that the number of people who have cats has grown a lot because they're more adaptable to small spaces and need less attention. Now that everyone has to go out to work so much, is it easier for a cat to adapt to your life than a dog?
Than a dog, yes.
Yes, we only have dogs, but yes, sometimes I think it would be better to have cats. Sometimes, but I really love them. Greetings.
Thank you, Clay. It's a pleasure. Thanks for your support and greetings to the community and Mr. X. How has Mr. X been? Very good.
And Neela says, I have 5 cats and always, you don't have just one, you always have 2.
Several.
Angie, Negri, Astra, Remy, and Cheeto. Wow.
Wow, your names are really good.
This comment is good here. It says, cats are very lazy and they change on you very easily. Afterwards, the family accepts that they are co-owners.
Yes. It's more like you're the cat's pet.
It doesn't end like that, yes. It's like, yes, it has that kind of charm. Greetings, my friend. In the end, it's an animal that's not even 100% domesticated.
100% Mr. X. Big greetings, Mr. X. How have you been?
Greetings to Laura Renteria. Laura Renteria says, hi guys, my kitty's name is Gerboli.
Gerboli, greetings to Gerboli, greetings to the kitty Gerboli from Labrar, Chihuahua. Chimuelo, my puppy's name is Chimuelo.
Like the one from How to Train My Dragon?
The dragon, yes, exactly. Greetings to Connecticut. Luis, how have you been? Very good. What's up? How have you been? What's new?
Yes, Jalala, we already mentioned it, that a military tanker plane crashed in Iraq. Iran says they shot it down, pro-Iran groups living in Iraq, and the United States says no.
That there is no evidence of any attack, right? Greetings, Mr. X. Awesome. Thank you.
It says here the father of a cow. It's true, not a joke. Each one had their own preference for food. One ate raw fish, another liked canned fish, another only ate cat food, but they were all very happy.
That's so cool. Awesome. Edilcia Mussolini. Awesome. Greetings, Edilcia.
Says Human Fires. My kitten's name is Mitzi.
Mitzi, awesome. There's a singer. Isn't her name Mitzi? Yes.
A Japanese woman?
He says. Jose says, at home we have hens and a female dog, and my daughter wants puppies and chicks. If it were up to them, we'd have a zoo.
Hey, Jose, yesterday we shared...
I don't know if you were there, Jose. We realized that you had shared the photos of the hens you have. We already showed them yesterday, right? It was last night. Very beautiful hens. They're not typical. A not so common breed, right? They're kind of gray, like you see.
Very beautiful, speckled.
Yeah, speckled, right? I mean, since we go walking in parks a lot and sometimes we go to Fundidora now and then, if we see there's an event at Cintermex where they have exhibitions, it's not an exhibition place, it's a park, and next to it is that big exhibition center, right? And there they have the book fair and things like technology and stuff, but sometimes they bring weird things, right? That time there was an exhibition of roosters and hens, do you remember? They were huge, and just out of curiosity, right? We went in to see, I mean, it's free, so we went in to check it out. What interesting things, huh? Chickens I never imagined existed in my life. I mean, did you see weird things? In fact, I took a bunch of pictures of them, right? Because I was really excited here.
Taking pictures of chickens.
This is crazy. What is this?
I mean, my favorite is Polax, who looks like she doesn't have any structure. Her feathers, so she looks like cotton.
Like a weird thing, right? Some giant hens, others skinny. I mean, I didn't know there were so many strange species.
Says Pixel Cat. I have 5: Princess, Pantera, Microbio, Mitigato, Chusmito, Sashimi, and Taquita. And 3 stray ones that come to eat named Mandarino, Pancracio, and Romero.
That's the best one, the one I liked most, Pancracio. Pancracio is my 4th favorite.
Aiton says, I have a ferret that thinks it's a cat. All ferrets think they're cats.
Right? Yeah. It's like they're somehow related, right?
They're not related.
It's not crazy, but yeah, it's like it has that attitude, right? Like a cat, like a feline.
Greetings to Gabriel Duran. He says he's in love with the little monkey from Japan. It's cute and from Punch Fun. Greetings to, he says, me. There are 4 cream leg bars, that's what they're called. They're from England. And 1 Brahma, which is a giant chicken from the United States. Greetings, it's not just any chicken. Clearly not a regular chicken.
He says, bees are very active, especially among young people who, unlike in other totalitarian countries, have had much more contact with other countries. And development, yes. I mean, that's a very interesting thing about Iran. I mean, the level of universities is very good. They have a lot of contact with Europe, especially with Europe, but also with Asia, so they know the world, unlike, as Jerez rightly says, other totalitarian countries. Yes, Iranians are more international and observant of global events, making them more critical and demanding of change from the government. And if a change comes, I think it would be very, very positive for their population, for those people, he says.
So sure, I'm 34 years old and my daughter, you saw her, is 34. Who. So sure, and my daughter gave names to everyone. And she doesn't let us eat them and turns them into pets. Nothing.
No.
It's not true anymore.
Hey, a Cali?
But
But look, they're good. Look now, the community that's coming, in case you didn't know. There's an area on the channel that's the community area, and there you can share photos. Right here on the YouTube channel, there's an area where you can share photos. You have the possibility to do it there. If you want, you can do it. And this feature is really cool because you can share, I don't know, a photo of your pets or something like that. I'm gonna go in so you can see how it works if you go in to check it out. Here is the community area, immigration and customs enforcement not allowed. I think that's where it is. Up here, it's not, it says community, you click on community. And here, for example, Jose Zarate left us a photo, which is right here. Mira. I mean, they're huge. He posted this yesterday. Thank you so much, Jose. And then here, for example, Christy posted, aren't there any in the mountains of Utah? That's great too. I don't know if he stops to check if there's anything recent, any new photo out there. Look, here's another one from Omar. Let's see what he says.
Here's a photo of my garden when I was in Mexico.
Ah,
Muy
buenísimo.
bonito.
Omar, your garden turned out really nice. What do you plant there, right? What's up? Well, I don't know if Omar is here or not. Hey, Omar, greetings. Thanks for sharing with us. That's really cool. He just finished this 26 minutes ago. It's recent. The photo is recent. It's awesome. That's so cool. About how much? What kind of fruit?
And no.
He doesn't let and...
She also asks that her little girl wants to share a photo of herself. If it will be okay.
And not of children. No, because... if you put one on, it's fine for security reasons and things like that. Otherwise, it's better not to. But if you put the little demo face on, then nothing happens.
This one says, greetings, Gabriel. If I do raise chickens and any little animal, but I don't eat them or sell them, what about that, Gabriel? Isn't that cool? Brill, Nicaragua. Yes, we have audio. Nicaragua. Yes, we have it. It wouldn't be too bad. Here, an hour and a bit. Here, this is my cat. His name is Mussolini. They say the dream is really good. It's good. The name, yes, it's really good. And it also has the edition. Okay?
Okay.
It says in the Sun, Iran, defending itself against 2 powerful countries. That's the reason why they have a large amount of weapons.
He says it's actually because they have an expansionist approach, an approach of war, of destroying when going, let's say, in this case, against the West. That has always been their approach, but it doesn't have to be their approach. It doesn't have to be that path. This is a path of radicalism. It's a path of giving money to terrorist groups like Hamas, like Hezbollah, like the pro-Iranian militias. Within Iran, within Iraq, within Yemen, in South America, attacks even within Argentina, for example. All of that is connected to the same government of Iran. So it's a government that constantly acts this way. So in the end, it owes a lot. It has owed for too many years. And it's an issue that neither Russia nor China wanted to get involved in. And even though there was a promise, because they knew they had caused it, they had been causing it constantly. And keep an eye on it, because they invest a lot, even here in Spanish, in having Hispanic media and politicians, influencers within America, within Europe, also to influence, to control the narrative. That's why suddenly they come and tell us, no, it's just that they're the innocent little doves. I don't know. What are you talking about? Obviously, what are you watching, right? Where are you getting your information? And he says, my dog is tough like the band. The Heat.
Oh, atento. ¿Se acuerdan? Hay que van a tener sus canciones, ¿verdad? Pero todos andábamos bailando.
Todos los cantamos.
Todos nos las sabíamos. It's a great, perfect show.
So basically it's an enemy, basically. So yeah, it's pretty intense. But he says, I can tell that this impression is slowly starting to fade. I hope you can reflect on being faithful to the principle of communication. Stay strong. Regards, Mira Muelga. That's not true, my friend, but it's typical for people to say that to us sometimes, you know, all of a sudden. They want the information to be based on what one person wants. I want you to report things the way I want, right? I mean, you can never really be neutral. Gobiernos criminales. Never. You can never be. Just imagine. So, are we supposed to be neutral with him? Thanks, Steve. Mm-hmm. Why would I be neutral in the case of Einstein? Why would I be neutral in the case of a government like the Ayatollahs? And we have to be critical with everyone. If Trump messes up, as he has, we've criticized Netanyahu a bunch of times, and anyone else who messes up, and it becomes clear. Well, obviously it has to be mentioned, but within, it's suddenly a lack of understanding in terms of what is meant by bias. I mean, never ever being neutral in journalism doesn't exist. You can't do that. It's impossible unless you're a robot, right? If you were a robot, then maybe, but it would be inhuman. Being neutral, it would be inhuman in the sense that you can't make yourself be neutral. With criminals, it's easy, it's simple. With proven criminals, with the criminals who, well, if they admit they've eliminated 6,000 people for protesting because they consider them enemies, and if protesting makes you an enemy, well, you might say, according to their laws or their ideas in their vision, maybe that's fine. Eliminating people who protest, unarmed students, you say, well, I mean, that's something that's indefensible. What they do to women is indefensible. Just like, for example, the Taliban, you're not going to be neutral with the Taliban. And that's how it is, right? You can go with any kind of radicalism, whichever it is, wherever it comes from. But anyway, I send you a big greeting. But yes, it's a clarification that needs to be made, right?
Yes. Greetings to Carabel. How are you? She says good evening.
Thank you very much, Luis, Long Live, Pepe, and Astrid. Well, it was like that, a name.
That.
Giant.
What if I'm not his partner? What if I get him in trouble with his wife? Marcella tells you that when I was a child, I had a favorite hen. I don't know what that pet thing is. She would lay an egg in my bed in the mornings, but my mom made her disappear. It seems like she used her for food. I still remember, how does that happen? Suddenly, people, when they have pets, pets, hens, and the idea is to have them to eat them. But it's inevitable that you get attached, especially when you're a child.
It's a spoiled hen. That's what I'm looking for here.
No, do you have a restaurant? No.
It's a restaurant.
It's really good, but I'm not going to say it. Greetings to Martin Gutierrez. He says if you finish with Iran, the hatred from the West will end. Martin. Greetings, Martin.
Greetings.
He says, teacher, I have a little dog named Furpo, like the name of the soccer team. Greetings.
Careful. I mean, by no means. I mean, it would never ever be ideal to wipe out Iran in the sense of destroying the country. Of course not, right? I mean, it's a regime that's causing harm, and that regime, well, is holding on. Obviously not, but, well, one thing is the regime, another thing is the population, right? He says now,
Christina, we've already shown images, but anyway.
Yes.
Greetings to Marcella, she says. We had a dog. His name is Gazusa. Greetings.
Well, greetings, Christina. Look, if you want, I gave you the source, yes.
Cable News Network Times of Israel.
Times of Israel, I mean, which is an Israeli media outlet. The information is there, right? We're not going to do your homework for you either. We're going to put it here. We've already told you which ones, literally, which ones they are, right? Earlier, I mentioned the topic to you again. I told you that if you kept insulting like you're doing right now, we were going to block you. And well, you earned it, right? I mean, honestly, I don't think it's right for you to come here without any arguments and accuse and say things that aren't true, right? So, well, it's always like that. I mean, here there's total tolerance in the sense that you can talk about anything as long as it's done with respect, right? But if you come here to be disrespectful, to troll, because, well, that's what you're doing, well, that's not okay. I don't think it's right. And in any case, I actually think you must have some kind of interest, right, in creating toxicity here, right? So, we'll let it slide once, but a second time, no, right? So, goodbye. Thank you very much. If you think about it and you're really not interested in trolling, send us an email and of course we'll gladly unblock you. We've unblocked a lot of people. Well, once they apologize or whatever it is they've done, right? Because here it's not just about us. We also don't allow people to insult other members of the community, right? If we see someone insulting another person, well, they're out too, right? Because respect here is for everyone equally, right? So, well, I send you my regards and we'll see you later.
Gires says, the problem is that I think it's about sides, like it's a soccer game. Saying that the regime of Iran under the Ayatollahs is criminal is not defending Trump. Regards, Gires.
No, not at all.
Yes, not at all.
There's nothing to defend about this person.
Yes, for example, I mean, personally, I think maybe something like that was necessary, but not with that person. I'm not saying Donald Trump should lead it. That's not really the issue. The problem is he'll only do it halfway.
Exactly, that's how it is, my friend. I mean, in the end, it's about respecting each other, right? I mean, and there are many people here. In fact, there have been people here who came as trolls. And then, you know what? Pepe sent me an email, right? You know what? Well, yeah, look, I had a bad day, which happens sometimes. I had a bad day, this and that happened. I would unblock them. Of course, no problem at all. Actually, several people who comment here regularly started out as trolls, to be honest. And, well, it's no big deal. I mean, it's not like, you know, there's no hard feelings, right? I mean, it's understandable. Sometimes we're like, you know, like a punching bag, right? People sometimes come here to box with us to vent about personal problems or issues at home. And, well, I mean, it's not fair to us in that sense, but it doesn't scare us either. It's no big deal and it's normal.
This often happens. You notice it, especially with celebrities. People say others love to get mad at them even without knowing them.
The problem here is that, well, we're not famous. That's the first point. And secondly, we actually have direct contact with you all constantly, really constantly. That part maybe sometimes isn't understood, right? It's not like, oh yeah, we're human and we have feelings too, right? When you see us, it's like he's lying. Come on, tell me where, man. You won't say, then repeat it later and keep claiming they're lying. I've already searched for information. Where did I look?
Where did you look?
Where did you look? I mean,
It's only imported in the Times of Israel. This is way.
He, well, I mean, for if the person is real and not just a vote with this, I mean, with this showing this that I'm doing, which I won't do every day because I would never finish. But,
the cover?
There, here on the cover, yes, I mean, where.
That's it, okay? That's the image we just showed.
Here we're looking at the cover of Times of Israel. Right? I mean, if the person is real and honestly believes they're telling the truth, then they should come and apologize. Because look, here's the cover, here's the outlet, there it is. There's the information. And there it is, with everything happening in real time. But there it is in Times of Israel, and there it is on Cable News Network, and there it is in a bunch of other media outlets, right? Also, besides us having other sources as well, they keep confirming things for us and giving us more details. Residents there use the same social networks, with some excellent intelligence accounts available, among others. Right? So, yeah, it's really, pretty intense because you start to notice. I mean, look, the person posted the comment about an hour ago. I thought they had left, but no, they were still there. It's exactly the same comment again, just like that, right? And you say, I already looked, and you say, well,
you're not looking properly?
I told you exactly where, right? Where was it? But there are many more media outlets discussing the topic and the broader issue.
Beto says some people can't handle when their truth clashes with reality, so they just call what doesn't fit a lie. That's very common.
Well, very common.
Very common. Greetings to Matias Martinez. They were trolls and they evolved. He just says, greetings, Matias, and Ernesto says, Israel is fighting for its survival, says Ernesto. Greetings, Ernesto, greetings to Heidi, how are you? And Cleo Vasquez. Digito Tolerancia also says, may our aura of socialism remain. Free news. Greetings, Digito.
Greetings, Digito. How have you been, Gabriel? Very good. Bresica, Carabel, Antonio Sauson.
To the Mrs.
Martin Gutierrez, Cleo, Heidi, Ernesto, and everyone, thank you for joining us. Let's go. Today we had to start early because of the importance of the news, obviously huge. Greetings, thank you very much for being there with us. Thank you so much for sharing this coffee with us. Right now, in a little while, later on, we'll keep talking, we'll keep discussing what's happening in the world.
I mean, like tomorrow?
In a little while, no, just a little while because it's already, it's 9:37 here. Yeah, our first report usually comes out at 5 in the morning, so in just a few hours. Well, it goes by fast. And if something happens, I'm here.
Yeah, if something really serious happens, we're here.
Oh, and Cleo, greetings to everyone, Mr. X. Thank you so much to the whole community. Because people from other channels also help us out. They send us messages and everything. The truth is that all that collaboration with other colleagues is really appreciated. It's truly appreciated. And that's it. We keep talking. Jerez, greetings. Pixel, Evangelista, very good greetings to everyone. Gabriel, Francisco, Rublos, see you later. See you tomorrow. We interrupt your usual programming. Thank you for tuning in, really. This is Pepe Live.
The truth is intense, pure. The unusual is real, pure. Here we analyze it with a global perspective. Don't miss out. Tune into the Pepe Live channel with Pepe and Astrid controlling the signal, telling it like it is. Raw journalism here, it's respected. Turn on the alert. Don't lose track until next time. Yes, sir.
We're taking roll call.
Suscríbete. Live in the house.
Subscribe to the channel.